I want a solid running game, and I want it to be, a mix of different styles. We've never had that really. It's the closest we had to that was when we had back in the day, like Bradshaw, um, Jacobs, and Derek Ward, like these kind of combos, you know?
Yeah.
And uh, that's a long time ago now, guys. So it's kind of exciting to see, but there's also a lot of unprovenness here. And that's the kind of not so exciting part. So that leads us to the question we ask on the segment here. And we got to ask, should the Giants sign another running back? And of course, the picture always gives away one of the answers of who it's going to be. So, yeah, this is not a good crop of running backs left, guys. It's really not. And again, running backs don't age well. So you can't really expect that. Here's where we're at. Dalvin Cook, last year with the Jets, 67 rushes, 214 yards to 3.2 yards per carry average. He's 28 years old. Obviously, multiple time 1,000-yard rusher. Just didn't work out. He wanted out of the Jets even and got out and ended up on the Ravens for their postseason. So, I mean, that might have just been a bad marriage. I thought it
Yeah,
was
I
a
think.
little weird mix to begin with. Why would you want to be a backup quarterback at this point in your career? You got maybe 1 or 2 more years to start. Why be a backup?
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to be the backup, and that's what you're going to be to Brees Hall over there. And yeah, Brees was hurt, but he came back, and like you got to remember too, like those numbers are kind of like a little bit like skewed because he was played a little bit more at the beginning of the year last year, and
Yeah.
his numbers were low. And it was once he became the backup where those numbers shot up to 3.2 average of
They shot right up to 3.2.
shot right up because they're at like a 1.6, they doubled at 1.8. So as a fantasy
Yeah.
football guy, that everyone's like, oh, you should get this, you should get Cook at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, no, we're good. Next up, brother of former Giant Elijah Penny, Rashaad Penny, who last year played with the Eagles, 11 rushes for 33 yards, 3.0 yard per carry average. He's 28 years old. He's shown a lot of glimpses in his career. He can never stay healthy.
Correct.
And again, he's 28 years old, guys, and he can't stay healthy. I'm good.
Yeah, when you turn
I'm not
29.
interested. Engine 29. Do 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 do.
Don't worry, Rashaad, because when you turn 32, it's going to
Crash.
fall downhill.
30's when you start to die. And that's all of us, by the way. I know I felt it
32.
at 30. I felt it at 30.
I was a competitor at 30, 32.
I could have been a contender.
I could
Next
have
up,
been back surgery.
we have the option that I'd be interested in, the one I had on the picture there, Cam Akers, who definitely did not start very well with the Rams. I'm trying not to hold that against him because he wanted out. They wanted him out. So there was definitely issues there
for a
and
season, then some.
yeah, like I don't know what the issues were. I don't pretend to know fully. I don't think it's ever been fully released.
No.
But that was just a bad marriage. He got divorced. He went to Minnesota and caught himself a Viking. 38 rushes, 138 yards, 3.6 yards per carry average, 1 touchdown. Not stellar, don't get me wrong, but he's still 24 years old. If I'm going to take a risk on somebody who's a veteran, I'm going to take a risk on the 24-year-old and see what he can do.
Not the 34.
Yes. Who would be Latavius Murray, who's next up on the list at 34 years old, who last year played with the Bills, 79 rushes, 300 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Actually, one of the better lines here on this, but again, he's 34 years old. Do you really want to put a 34-year-old in a building roster at that point? So,
no.
Cam Akers, 24, I don't mind doing it. Got Kareem Hunt last year with the Browns, 135 rushes, 411 yards, a 3.0 yard per carry average, 9 touchdowns. He's 28 years old now. He's getting up there. I don't want anything to do with Kareem Hunt purely because of the legal and personality issues that he's had over the years.
Yeah. I mean, he was on my fantasy team, and then he kicked me right out of the playoffs.
he's he's kicked a lot of things, and it's not always been playoff things at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he's had issues. I just have really a lot of trouble at that point.
After battling his legal issues, after going through
Yeah,
some injuries, like when he became a Brown, like he put up some good numbers, but he wasn't like he was when he was with the Chiefs.
no, and I
Now
still
he's even
can't
older.
get past the video of him literally like hitting a woman. Like, no, I can't. You're done. My eyes, you're done. I never want you. That's where I'm at. Um, so yeah. Next up, this name may not sound familiar.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of this guy. Yeah, it's another vet
Matt
around the league.
Matt Breda,
Yeah,
perhaps. He played with the Giants last year, whoever they are.
in the year
55
prior.
rushes, 151 yards, and 1 touchdown. He's now 29 years old. Really did not have a good year last year, but I still think, and again, I'm probably get lambasted, and people probably complain, "Oh, look at him trash talking Saquon." Now that Saquon's gone, I trash talk Saquon when he was here. Still, goddamn it! But it's not trash talking. It's legit to say that Saquon in our offense was such a ball hog that none of the other running backs ever got a chance to get going.
Yeah, I don't blame Saquon for that.
No,
Because-
it's not like he demanded it. Probably, I'm sure it was just
Yeah.
given to him.
But when you have legit one superstar on your team, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, like I said, I like the stable of running backs. I'm kind of curious to see
Yeah.
what happens with it this year. Next up, Jerick McKinnon, who would fit right in with our kicking team at that point for a Scottish name. Played with the Chiefs obviously last year. 21 rushes for 60 yards, a 2.9 yards per carry average, and 1 touchdown. He's now 32 years old. So he's your age, Rob.
It's right when it goes downhill. Yeah.
Well, at 30 is when it starts to die.
32.
Then you got another name that had a decent career, and that's Melvin Gordon, who's now 31 years old. Played with the Ravens last year, 26 rushes for 81 yards, 3.1 yards per carry average, and a touchdown. You can see there's a lot of big names. There's not necessarily a lot of good names.
The big names 5 years ago.
Yeah. Like I said, the only one that I'd be interested in is Cam Akers, and that's because he's still young.
Correct. The only thing that concerns me is like there was some, like you said, there were some issues. He wanted to get out. I don't know.
I'd want to hear the
what
issues. I definitely would want to do the issues.
Yeah. We'd like to hear it, but
Yeah. We'll never know.
the world may never know.
They're not going to tell us. They're not going to tell us. But I mean, the year before he had 786 yards, 4.2 yards per carry in with the Rams. And that's 15 games, only 9 starts. Like it wasn't like they fed him the ball nonstop all year long. He still had a decent year. He was injured the year before that, then had 13 games, had 625 yards. So if you take out, just look at those two years at that point, he had some decent action. He's not a stud. He's not a Saquon. But he's a guy that I could say would legit be a legit number 2.
Correct.
You could pair him with a guy like Singletary, and maybe now instead, you get a guy like Tracy becomes a third down back or something like that. Because I remember looking at him and watching the tape and going, he wasn't horrible in pass pro, which I was kind of shocked for a converted wide receiver. Maybe that's what you do. If you look at it. So I wouldn't hate if they bring Cam Akers in, but the rest of them I'm good. I don't need to be blocking a guy who's put in the league 1 or 2 years so I can put it in 34-year-old Latavius Murray. I'm sorry. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.